Aloha everyone, my name is Faith Makanalani Kraus and this is
her grandmother, and I'm Denise Nakanishi. I almost said Denise Nakanishi Kraus. Anyway, I'm Denise Nakanishi.
And today we are going to talk about what real estate was in the 90s because I did a little trendy video and pulled up all of her listings from back in the 90s. But I wasn't born yet, so I was kind of curious to know what it was like. It was funny seeing the photos compared to the kind of photos we get these days. Um, but do you want to share a little bit about what it was like
Oh,
back then?
yeah. So prior to the 90s, and I actually got my license in 1990. That shows you how old I am. And prior to even when we first started the multiple listing service, people would fill out 3x5 cards and exchange them at a weekly meeting, and so they could promote each other's listings. When I started, we had a book. It was very much like a Sears catalog, which is something most people have never seen either. But we would have maybe a photo in there, and by the time we got it, the listing was already kind of old, but that's how we would search because we didn't have a searchable multiple listing service at that time. Eventually, we did have one, but it was thermal paper and it was slow and there was no pictures at all. And you had to, back in that day, to get your pictures in, or a picture in multiple listing service book, you would take the picture to the Board of Realtors office, which we don't even call it a Board of Realtors office anymore, and give it to them, and they would mail it to Honolulu for printing. Um, but in the 90s, it was so interesting. We've had several cycles of real estate. There was a couple of cycles in the 90s. One was the Japanese boom, and that started like in 1987 and went through the 91, 92. They bought all 75% of the hotels in Waikiki, but the hotel owners don't necessarily live here all the time, and they bought houses all over um, Oahu. But it affected us because we would get some spillover from that, mostly from the people whose houses they bought. But they would the Japanese would come. The yen was super strong, and they would come here with cash in a suitcase. And it got to where they would walk up to people's door with this bunch of cash, and we were supposed to then. It got to where we had to verify where the cash came from. Well, I don't know how they thought we were going to do that, but that was what they made us do. And then later on, there was, I think, around 1994 or so, which is kind of fast for a second wave. 95 to 2001, there was a tech boom, and the people were all the tech, same thing, same dynamic. They were buying these houses in Silicon Valley, and those people would migrate to Hawaii, and the people that on Oahu would migrate over here. And it just got to be where everybody was coming over here. But you remember who was on TV back then was Oprah. And Oprah would interview people, and one of the people, I don't know, remember if I actually ever saw the episode that she interviewed, was Donald Trump. She interviewed him several times, and she asked him, "Where is the best real estate value in the United States?" And he said, "Puna, the Puna district on the Big Island." So I would be driving around Puna, and people would stop me and ask me if Oprah sent me. It was just so strange. But Paradise Park is specifically was one of the places where people would look a lot. And it is not like it was back then. There was no power in a lot of the park. Of course, the roads were not. None of them were paved except for the main arteries going down.
And it was cheap because when
It
I
was
was
super cheap.
when I was doing that little trend, one of your listings was a 5 bedroom, 3 bathroom home, and I believe it sold for under 100,000. It was an
Oh
HPV.
yeah, you could buy anything in Hilo pretty much for 69,000 when I moved here in the 80s. So can imagine it. A big house in Paradise Park you could get for very, very cheap.
And it was pretty new too. I think it was only maybe a 6-year-old house.
Yep. And I think I'm still friends with the owner.
Probably.
And I can remember one time the lots went from 10,000 to 30,000 and went back down. Well, the next time we had that boom like that, they went from 30,000 to 90,000, but they didn't really come back down very much. So now they're hovering around 100, 120,000, and they seem to be creeping back down a little bit just for vacant land. Um, the last thing that happened in the 90s was Y2K. Remember Y2K? Well, we had people coming here and they bought property, some finance, some were looking for seller financing, but they truly believed that Y2K was going to allow them to not have to pay the bill rest of that property, and they were going to end up with the property for free.
Oh, I remember you telling me
It
something
was
about that.
just so strange.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's kind of the 90s in a nutshell. And our cycles, they say come every 10 years, but we had like about two for sure during the 90s. I think that at first, the second one ended in like 91, 92, and then it took a while to climb back. So,
Cool.
yeah.
Thank you for sharing
Memory
that.
lane.
Yeah.
And I'm still here.
Check out our page for those trendy little videos of the 90s to see some of those photos of her listings back in the day. Okay. Aloha.
I'm glad it's not my pictures. They get old.